Since week 14, teams have averaged 4 points against us in the second half. Since week 14. But our defense is just good, right? It's just good. Give me a break. From a mentality perspective, they were weaker than us. They were. Um, but what I will start off with is, what can you say now? What's going on, everyone? You're listening to the Antonio Chauran Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Antonio Chauran, and we're going back to the Super Bowl, baby. I would say that I'm surprised. Many people can say that, but if I'm being 100% honest with you all, I expected to win this game, but I was not predicting a 17-10 victory, nor would I believed if you were to tell me that if we went scoreless in the second half of this game that we won, I wouldn't have believed you. So, given the fact that yes, we did go out in the second half and put up 0 points, but to be honest with you, that doesn't necessarily tell the full picture. You look at this scoreline 17-10, and if you watched the game, which of course I most certainly did, watching the game told the story. And what that story told, the Chiefs punked the Ravens. That's what happened. So, let's just get into it, because I know we have the 49ers and Lions, and obviously that's not the game that I care about the most here. But what I will start off with is, what can you say now? Honestly, what can you say to discredit the Chiefs right now? The refs? Um, if I recall correctly, we were in field goal range, uh, trying to go down and score a touchdown. Two holding calls back to back on Trey Smith, which I thought were pretty iffy calls. But that's just me. Maybe I'm just a biased Chiefs fan. Um, but I didn't think they were great calls. Pushes us out of field goal range. We have to punt. So those are points taken off the board right there. And obviously the biggest calls in the game that people are complaining about are the unnecessary roughness, like the personal fouls, and taunting. Let me just say, let's talk about the first one with it was Kyle Van Noy. I remember too. He was on the Pat McAfee show the week before, the week of the game with the Chiefs, and he's telling them that, oh, the Ravens, the mentality is that, everyone wants the Chiefs to win, and looks like we're going to have to play the villain. Just total bullshit. I mean, everyone was rooting for the Ravens. Everyone was rooting for the Chiefs' downfall, if anything. They still are. And, you know, to make it seem like that the Ravens were the villain is, look, if you need to make yourself some motivation by just believing some stuff that just does not exist, fine, be my guest. But even Pat was like, don't necessarily think that's true, but if that motivates you, cool. Which I think is exactly what that was. It was just self motivation at that point. It was totally false. You look anywhere, whether if it's social media with just random people, trolls, hating, and things of that nature. About, oh, Lamar, please save us. Now, oh, Purdy, please save us, and blah blah blah. And then you look at all of the criticism that the Chiefs have gotten on the media airwaves. Your ESPNs of the world, your Fox Sports Ones of the world, and everyone was picking the Ravens. Everyone. The only person, I mean, obviously Nick Wright on First Things First, he picked he picked the Chiefs. I mean, he's a Kansas City homegrown man, and yeah, I mean, he picked the Chiefs. Um, not many other people picked the Chiefs. There were guys, I think, like Damian Woody. I think he picked the Chiefs, if I recall correctly. Greeny Mike Greenberg, he did on Get Up. He picked the Chiefs. I love Mike Greenberg. He's a cool dude. And there were some other guys. I can't remember the names exactly. But some like former NFL players. And yeah, everyone was against us. This Ravens defense is something different. This Ravens run game. Oh, don't let them get going. This Chiefs run defense is vulnerable. We held the Ravens to the least amount of yards the entire season. Now, was some of that due to getting hit in the mouth early and fearing that this was going to be kind of a shootout? And you're like, oh, we got to get away from the run game. Possibly. Was it bad play calling? Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't run the ball more. I mean, Gus Edwards was running the ball pretty well on us. He only had a handful of carries in the game, and for us to be able to defend so well that I guess the Ravens felt like they couldn't run on us. I mean, shoot, I'll take that all day. But I don't want to deviate too much from what I was initially saying here with the roughing the passer, or not roughing the passer. Even though that was a call. I mean, the guy freaking clocked him in his face mask. I mean, that's going to be called all day, every day. But yeah, Kyle Van Noy, headbutting Kelsey. No doubt that's a 15-yard penalty. Everyone was complaining about Kelsey talking smack. Yeah, you can talk smack. Absolutely. But everyone is trying to compare what the Ravens did compared to the Chiefs, and there's no comparison. Let's be honest here. The refs are going to call, even if Kelsey did initiate, if not a majority of it, all of it, because from the jump, emotions were high. People were getting going. It all started pregame with Justin Tucker, right, with Travis and Mahomes warming up, and Tucker just being a jerk, trying to get in his space, right? And then just throwing his stuff out. He thought it was all fun and games, but Kelsey was like, hey, man, we ain't messing around right now. With all due respect, get your shit out of the way and let my quarterback do his thing. So, I love that. Everyone's like, oh, I can't stand Kelsey. Okay, cool. I don't care. How's your team doing? How's it doing? Tell me. Because I can guarantee you, if you're not a Niner fan, you're not in the Super Bowl right now. So, cry me a river. I'm at the point now where I embrace the hate. I really do, because you have noticed when you get so great, people stop talking about your game and they come at you personally. That's how you know you're great, because they have nothing to critique about your game. Kelsey had 11 targets, 11 catches, 116 yards, something like that, and a touchdown against this Ravens defense that's supposed to be lights out. Now, second half, they were. But at that point, from the play calling that I saw from the Chiefs, we weren't necessarily looking to go put up a bunch of points at that point, because our defense was killing it. We held the Ravens defense the Ravens offense to 10 points, which is the lowest has been held all season, tied for the lowest, because both times against the Steelers, they also put up 10 points. Both games were 17-10 losses. Now, that last game of the season, they weren't necessarily playing for anything. They had all their starters out. But earlier in the season, they went to Pittsburgh and they lost 17-10. So that was the lowest out of all the seasons, out of the entire season that they've been held to 10 points, and we were able to hold them to 10 points there. I mean, yeah, I'll take that all day. Sack Lamar Jackson 4 times. There were a couple of times where he alluded at getting out of sacks. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, there was some Matrix stuff going out there. So shout out to Lamar Jackson for, being a freaking alien. But he's still able to get 4 sacks on him. One was a strip sack by Charles Omenihu, who unfortunately tore his ACL in that game, is now out for the remainder of the season and will not be playing in Super Bowl 58. That sucks. That really sucks. But I feel like we'll still be okay. Obviously, we got Mike Dana on that D-line, Chris Jones, Karloftis, So I think we're going to be able to manage, but I mean that's a huge loss. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Um, but yeah, you got to give the defense a lot of credit, our defense, because all I heard really was how amazing the Ravens defense was. And everyone's like, oh, Kansas City has a good defense. They have a good defense, but the Ravens, the things that the Ravens were known for all season that had no impact on this game, turnovers. I mean, that was a huge thing. Sacks. That was another thing. We had more sacks on their quarterback than they did ours. Like I said, we sacked Lamar 4 times and they got to Patrick twice. And yeah, I mean, and so that was a big thing. I heard turnovers was a big thing. Just the overall physicality was another thing. We out physical the Ravens without a doubt. I mean, you look at the film, like you see on some of these replays with the O line. Like it starts in the trenches, right? With the O line and D line. Our O line is tremendous. Obviously with Joe Tooney being out, Nick Allegretti had to fill in his spot, and he played great. He really did. They were able to stuff us on the run. Pacheco had like 60 something yards, but that was on like 20 some carries, and he only averaged like, I don't know, 2.5 or 2.8 yards a carry. So credit to the Chiefs for trying to continue to feed him, but we weren't able to run on this defense. So credit to them for that. But I think we really set the tone on those first opening drives. We really did. We were able to force the Ravens to go 3-and-out. We go down and score. Ravens come and score 7-7 on a good pass from Lamar. I mean, Zay Flowers was wide open, and I'll get to Zay Flowers because I have a few thoughts on him. And then we go back and we score again, 14-7. They're like, oh wow, they're all right. Here they come. And then next thing you know, 17-7 halftime. And then third quarter, we go out, we punt. Wasn't the greatest way to come out of the game. I was hoping to go down at least try to score, get a touchdown at the least, get a field goal, but didn't happen. And the turning point in the game, Zay Flowers. I'll say this about him. He's going to be an amazing talent. He's going to be an amazing receiver in this league, without a doubt. I mean, it would have been great if we were able to draft him. Obviously, Baltimore scooped him up before we could, and then we got Rashee Rice. Which, I mean, seeing how he's developed, I am not complaining at all with getting Rashee at all. He's been a huge weapon for us, and I mean, is obviously our number one wide receiver right now. Our number one target is Kelsey, but receiver specifically, pure wide receiver is Rashee Rice. As a Chiefs fan, you're happy with how that turned out. Let's get to it though. The play where Zay Flowers gets open on busted coverage, which is very rare on the Jerry Sneed side of the ball. He catches it, but I feel like the play that's not being talked about too much is the fact that on that very play, Zay Flowers, I think on any other corner or a majority of corners would have been able to get around them and get a touchdown on that play. Snead didn't let him get a touchdown. He was able to tackle him in the open field and bring him down. And then there's the taunt that everyone is complaining about. First off, there were 3 taunts in that one taunt. The first one pushes Snead. He pushes him. Now, I know Snead was kind of like holding on to his ankle a little bit, but Zay just pushed him, stood over him, and threw the ball or spun the ball right by him. And you're complaining that that's a flag? It would be one thing if people are saying, should that be a penalty in general? That's one thing. But we're not talking about if that should be a rule in the rule book that that's a flag. The reality is how the rules are now, that's a flag. And did that meet the criteria of a taunting flag? 100%. Like I said, there were literally 3 taunts in that one taunt flag. Shoved him, stood over him, threw the ball right down by his head. And that was the turning point. Because later on in that drive, and it was incredible. I mean, insert Cat Williams meme. You shouldn't have been talking shit. It was quite poetic. There were a few poetic moments in this game, and I'll talk about the other one. But he reaches out for the goal line, tries to make a play. Snead punches it right out right before the goal line, and we recover. I mean, if he scores, everyone's like, "Oh, the Ravens would have won that game." You don't know that. You don't know that because look, in my opinion, seeing how Pat was playing and how it was on the more conservative side of the play calling, more so not to turn the ball over to win the game. I think that's why it was as close as it was. If they scored, offense turns it up, I believe. And look, you may not, that's fine. But we're speaking in hypotheticals with that respect. But the reality is we won the game. And the Chiefs are going to their 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. So, yeah, I again, that was a huge play. A huge play by Snead. And Zay Flowers, I mean, hey, he learned the hard way that you poke the bear, you see what happens, man. You really do. From a mentality perspective, they were weaker than us. They were. You could tell from the jump we got in their heads and they didn't like it. They were getting mad, retaliating. They took the bait. That's what happened. And that was honestly, aside from just me thinking that the Chiefs were better equipped and a better team than the Ravens, maybe not from a roster perspective, but just when you're looking at the years on this team, all of the playoff games that this team has played, yeah, we outweighed the Ravens by far. There also comes a mentality with it. They couldn't handle it. It was as simple as that. And I feel like because we won that battle, that's a key reason why we won this game. So you can cry all you want that you feel like the Chiefs had the refs in their pocket and blah, 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 that they got all the favor. Whatever, dude. Whatever. I'm not under the impression that that's ever going to stop. I know it's not because I feel like if we win the Super Bowl, no matter how it goes, I don't even know how exactly. I think I'm obviously very confident that the Chiefs will win. I'm not going to go over that in this video, though. I'm more so just giving my reactions to the games. So I'll have a video for next week just on my breakdown of the Super Bowl and who I think will win. And, it is what it is. When you're great, that's just what's going to come with it. Your Michael Jordans of the world, LeBrons, Tom Brady's, Tiger Woods, Patrick Mahomes, even soccer with Messi, Ronaldo. It's just that is how it is. And with teams specifically in dynasties, the Lakers, the Celtics, the 90s Bulls, obviously the Patriots. Think of the Yankees, you think of the Red Sox. Now the Astros, they deserved it because they were cheaters. But hey, so were the Patriots. But we won't get into that. And Now we have the Chiefs. I mean, it's I've said this many times. I am happy that I am able to experience that as a fan now. I'm experiencing the hate. I'm not experiencing now hating a team because they're so great. I am the one who's the fan of the team that keeps winning. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. So I'm lucky. I'm grateful because Patrick Mahomes is going to have 3 rings, and he's 28 years old. Travis Kelce's going to have 3 rings. Andy Reid's going to have 3 rings, and we're going to have 3 Super Bowl wins in 5 years. I mean, it can't get better than that. I understand I'm coming off as very confident right now, maybe borderline arrogant, and that's fine. But I feel like right now I deserve to be, after all of the shit that I've been hearing about the Chiefs this season. Now, I've been very critical about the Chiefs. I've been objective as I can. I really have. And even then, with all of the adversity, all the drops, all of the games that we lost that we should have won. 11-6 easily should have been 13-4, 14-3. Without a doubt. That didn't happen. The first time in Mahomes' career not having the AFC Championship game played in Arrowhead in Kansas City. Never played on the road. Never played a playoff game on the road. How is he? Is he going to, be able to handle it? 2-0. In Buffalo, against Josh Allen, against one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Yes, I understand. At one point, they were like a 500 team. Rattled off 5 straight wins to win their division. Host 2 playoff games. Josh Allen, oh my gosh, like who can beat him? And the Buffalo defense that was totally depleted, but even though that was the case, they were still a top defensive team. How is Mahomes going to cope with that against Bills Mafia? He won. Going into M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore, against the hottest team, the best team, not just the hottest, the best team. A consensus best team in the NFL. Best defense in the NFL. Best run game in the NFL. An offense that is elite that'll put up maybe 30 points. We beat them. 17-10. Held that team to 10 points. 3 in the second half. Again, just adding to the teams that we just shut down completely in the second half. Add more to the list there. Since week 14, teams have averaged 4 points against us in the second half. Since week 14. But our defense is just good. Right? It's just good. Give me a break. Give me a break. Seriously. Everyone counted us out. It wasn't so much Mahomes. It was just the wide receiving core. That was the hesitancy, and I understand that. But now, and you're looking at the 49ers, are you convinced from those 2 playoff games that they played, they should have lost to the Packers, should have lost to the Lions? Can you say that about both of the Chiefs? All 3 Chiefs playoff wins? Chiefs winning against Miami 26-7 against one of the hottest offenses in Miami. Now, I get it. We were a little critical of them because we didn't know if they were going to be able to translate that on the road in sub-degree temperatures, and that they pretty much really only won against really bad or mediocre teams. I get that narrative. And I said that too. I was like, look, I viewed that game how I viewed Buffalo beating Pittsburgh. They should have beat that team. I felt the same way. But people were like, oh, Miami, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Beat them handily. Go into Buffalo. Everyone was convinced that we were going to lose that game. And we put up 27 on them. 27-24. Win that game. in Baltimore. Do I need to say any more? I said whoever won this game, whether if it was us or Baltimore, they're winning the Super Bowl. And I'm keeping that same energy. We're winning the Super Bowl. I genuinely believe that. I mean, like I said, can you tell me if you're a Niner fan, do you feel confident about your team right now? I mean, now look, you beat the Packers, who were a very hot team at the time. I mean, Jordan Love went on a stretch where he threw 20 touchdowns to one interception. I mean, it was incredible. But let's be honest, the Packers more lost that game than you won it. Detroit, you're down at halftime, 24-7. Now, to your credit, you came back and won that game. You 100% did. But the fact that you were down that much to begin with and you had to dig yourself out of that hole and you pull it out 34-31. I'm just saying, you get 31 put on you and then 21 by the Packers. And I haven't even gone over the rushing yards that have been put up against you guys. And obviously I'll get into that when I talk more about your game. But yeah, you know, give the Chiefs their credit. If they win, if and when they win this Super Bowl, this is going to be the best ring that Mahomes has won in his career. And it's not even close. It's not. I mean, yeah, did it feel good last season when we went to the Super Bowl, beating the Bengals after they beat us the year prior in the AFC Championship game, and then going up against the Eagles that everyone was convinced was going to beat us? I mean, that felt good. But there has never been this much doubt in a Chiefs team than there has this season. It's just plain and simple. That hasn't been the case in any of the runs that the Chiefs have made so far in this 5-6 year stretch. So yeah, like I said, cry me a river, right? Like I'm tired of the complaining. I'm tired of everyone trying to downplay what the Chiefs are doing and like, oh, Brock Purdy save us and blah. Like, shut up, bro. Shut up. I'm tired of you. Anyways, moving on to the Niners and Lions. I mean, that was a crazy game. I'll be honest. I thought game was over at halftime. Some questionable calls by Dan Campbell to go on it on fourth down on a few different occasions when he could have gone to get the field goal, go up 3 more points. I mean, at that point, you were only up by 2 possessions, or you could have gone up by 3 possessions, and you elected not to. And I understand that's Dan Campbell's MO. Just go for it on fourth down. Like he's not even he's playing like 4 downs on every drive. That, and credit to him for sticking to that through the end. But I also feel like there were moments where it came back to bite him, and it's evident, right? You can't necessarily blame him for going it on fourth down just for the simple fact that it was a good call. There were good plays called, but the team didn't execute. I mean, Reynolds had some key drops, and that hurt him a lot. As soon as the Niners started to get momentum, it's like it just couldn't stop. And so I feel like there were some opportunities where Dan should have gone and just to get the field goal, but he wanted to stick to by his guns and try to convert on fourth down. It just didn't end up happening. So you got to give a lot of credit to the Niners, obviously, for coming back in this game. But damn, that first half, they got punched in the mouth. They really did. I mean, at that rate, I really thought they were going to get blown out of Santa Clara. I really did. So credit to the Niners. Credit to the Lions for a historic season. They were close. They were close. But, I'm kind of happy that the Niners won because I feel like if the Lions made it to the Super Bowl and we beat the Lions, like, oh my, everyone would have hated us that much more. So I think the fact that It's the Niners. It's going to be a little bit of a softer blow, but nevertheless, people are going to hate. If you're a Brock Purdy fan, I mean no disrespect. I know usually when people start off like that, they're like, "What are you going to say?" I thought he played a good game, down the stretch because he needed to play well in order for them to win this game. But man, there were a few close calls. I mean, the main one I think of is the bomb that he threw to Ayuk that bounced. It was a bad throw and it bounced off the defender's face mask and into Ayuk's arms. I mean, that was perfect, right? It couldn't have been. I mean, that was perfect. It's right place, right time. Um, Obviously, he had that really bad pick in the first half that really killed momentum for them early on in the game. Credit to him for being able to pull it together. He used his legs a lot. He had like 4 or 5 rushes for 48 yards or something like that. So he was able to utilize his legs more than I've ever seen him do before. So that's something that we will need to as a Chiefs fan, hoping that the Chiefs really pay attention to that. Obviously, it's not like a Lamar Jackson where he can make a play happen with his legs any down. Brock Purdy does it when he needs to, but he's not looking obviously to do that. They're not making, calls and packages to be like, all right, Brock Purdy, run on this play. Like, no, they're not doing that. So I think we'll need to keep an eye on that, but that's a part of his game, and he put it on display, he put it on tape, right? So we'll see what happens with that in terms of the game plan for trying to prepare for obviously him in the passing game, but also him on the running game. Like I said, though, and I don't really mean to sound biased when I say this, but objectively, I think it's true. I think our run so far in the playoffs has been far more impressive than the Niners. Packers and Lions. I mean, look, the Packers were a hot team, but no one was picking them to go to the Super Bowl. And the Lions, right? Like a great story, and they were a great team, but you know, at the end of the day, they were still Detroit. You can't fully be like, this is a completely like team. This is a team that's completely rid of their bad habits. I mean, you saw it on display in that second half with the Chiefs and what they are able to do to completely dismantle them and out physical in every way, shape, or form. The Dolphins go into Buffalo and beat Buffalo, and go into Baltimore to beat the Ravens, the team that was a consensus team to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Our road was harder, and we were able to execute. And we won in multiple ways. I mean, we won in a blowout, 26-7 against Miami. We won in more of a shootout game with Buffalo, 27-24, and we won in a scrum, in a low scoring, physical, beat down game. So you can't tell me. You really can't. I don't think you can tell me that the Niners have had a better run in the playoffs so far than the Chiefs. 3 games, one at home and 2 on the road. And the Niners, obviously with the 1 seed, they got that bye and they played 2 home games. So again, I don't think I sound too biased when I say that. When you really break it down and you look at the totality, I'm just talking about the playoff run. You can't tell me otherwise. Anyways, I know I didn't really get into the Niners game too much. I mean, I gave like some basic points and things of that nature, but I really just wanted to use this opportunity to break down the Chiefs game and gloat because man, if we're in the Super Bowl again, it astounds me as a Chiefs fan, right? Just how good this team is, how good Patrick is, how amazing of a coach Andy Reid is. Spags on the defensive end of the ball. Holy shit, man. Like he has his guys ready every week. I mean, that stat alone, since week 14, we've held teams to an average of 4 points in the second half. Are you kidding me? Like that that's not normal. That doesn't really happen in today's NFL. It just doesn't. In an NFL that is so offensive driven. I mean, tip your cap, man. Seriously. And look, I know I've been pretty critical of Matt Nagy on the offensive side of the ball. We've been cooking. We've been getting better, and I appreciate the fact that there seem to have been adjustments there. So I'm happy about that. I mean, we're playing our best ball right now. We really are. And the road that we've gone to get to where we are now is the hardest it's ever been. And here we are. So hate if you want, but I'm appreciating this team and the greatness that we are exuding right now. Seriously. You know, all the talks too with Travis Kelce having an off season, he just went in there and whooped some ass in Baltimore. And he showed all of y'all why he's that guy. For real. Now, he's been getting a lot of hate too with people are saying that he's like kind of cringy now or that he cares more about his image off the field, obviously with dating Taylor. Shut up. He's going to go down as the best tight end ever. People are like, "Oh, Gronk," and no, I look. They're Gronkowski. I give all the credit in the world to him. He's an amazing player. 4 or 5 Super Bowl. I forget which one. Their styles are just totally different. I mean, in the passing game, I think Kelce blows him out of the water. As a blocker, not so much. That's more like Kittle and Gronk. They're better at blockers in the running game. But I mean, just Kelce, man, just sheer will to freaking win. I don't think he's retiring. I mean, you see how he was talking after beating Baltimore? It doesn't get old. When you're winning, it does not get old. So he's going to have 3 Super Bowl rings under his belt, and he's going to want to get more. I mean, I don't blame him, and I hope he stays in. I mean, at this clip, he's not slowing down. He has had 7 1,000-yard seasons in a row, and it broke after this season because he came 15 yards short. But he didn't play in the last game because he didn't want to, because he wanted to be able to rest. He didn't want to put the team in jeopardy of, you know, him focusing so much on getting those 15 yards that it messes up the game plan. That's a selfless ass player right there. Like he could have kept that record going. He could have had 8 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, but he didn't because he wanted to put the team first. That's a selfless ass move, and I appreciate the hell out of Kelce for that. So, yeah, man, I'm happy with where we're at. I got nothing to complain about. You know, we just got to stay the course. It's not going to be an easy game. I hope I'm not trying to. I hope I'm not coming off in any way, shape, or form that this is going to be an easy game. It's not. I mean, San Fran. I thought they were under the Ravens for the top teams in the NFL. But hey, man, watch the games. See how they've been playing over these past 2 games, and look how we've been playing. I like our chances, and I don't think there's anyone that can tell me that I'm crazy for thinking that. So, yeah. Anyways, that is it for today, everyone. I know I gave out a lot there, but you know what? It's Friday. Well, I'm recording on Thursday. It's coming out on Friday. I've had all week to just watch what the commentators are saying, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to wait. I wanted to see what everyone was saying. I just wanted to see more hate. You know, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. I saw it everywhere. YouTube, don't matter. We're going to the Super Bowl, and we're going to get a 3rd ring in 5 years. Maybe I sound too confident. Maybe I sound cocky. I don't care. I do not care. We're winning this thing. And there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. There just isn't. And I hope you made your peace with that, because the Chiefs aren't going anywhere. As much as you want them to, Mahomes isn't going anywhere. He's in a class in it of himself. He really is. You can't compare him. Joe Burrow? No. Josh Allen? No. Lamar Jackson? No. Justin Herbert? No. Trevor Lawrence? No. Get out with that crap. There is no comparison to be made. There just isn't. And Pat's showing you day in and day out why that's the case. So I can't wait for next week. I'm gonna have a breakdown of this Super Bowl matchup, and it's gonna be good. Next Sunday too, on Super Bowl Sunday, I'm gonna be on the Full Monty Sports show, and yeah, please tune in for that. I was on his show the Saturday before the Raven Chiefs game. It was a lot of fun. So if you haven't, go check it out again. It's the Full Monty Sports Show on YouTube. It's yeah, I'll have it linked down in the description below as well, so you guys can go check out his channel, Monty Perez. He's been doing a lot of good stuff there. And he said he'll root for whoever comes out of the AFC. So obviously it's yours truly. So I'll be rooting for the Chiefs. I appreciate that. But yeah, so tune in next Sunday. It'll be live. And I'll do this again on the next show that comes out before then, and I'll give you guys more details on that. But yeah, anyways, thank you all for listening, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.